Robbinsville is a tremendous program. We're talking about a program with 14 state championships, rich tradition and history, a legendary coach. They've got one of the best high school football players our state has to offer in Cutler Adams. So we understood going down there was going to be a tall task, and coming out of there with a win was going to be difficult, and it was. But we did what we needed to do, and so here we are, and we're thankful. I think the thing that sets us apart is just the effort level that our guys play with. We've got some talent, obviously, and that helps. We do play with great aggression and speed. They have a pretty good understanding of what's going on and what offenses like to do, so they're students of the game. But just from an effort standpoint, if you watch us play, you're going to see a lot of guys to the football all the time. It's very rarely you're going to see solo tackles. It's a lot of guys gang tackling the ball, and we have played really good defense over the last 3 or 4 years at Mount Airy, and that's kind of become a staple in our program and a blueprint of DNA of who we are. Well, that we do have good numbers in our program, so we can go good on good. We do it in what we call a half-line setting a lot, but iron sharpens iron, and we believe in that. So they're a competitive group. Earlier in the year when we're hitting a little bit more frequent in practice, it can get a little dicey, but you want your guys on edge, and you want the competition level to be there Monday through Thursday, not just on Friday. So we believe that's a real part of our success as well. I think being a triple option quarterback is one of the toughest things to do in sports. I mean, it really is, because there's so much diagnosis that happens in real time. And we require that guy to be more of a point guard. We get a lot of 2-on-1 fast break opportunities. He has to distribute the ball where it needs to be distributed. For that to happen, he has to fully understand the scheme and understand what his job is, understand what he's seeing pre-snap. So Ian is a cerebral player, even though he's probably our most physical player. But he does a tremendous job of getting the ball where it needs to go. Tremendous program, great coach, again, another legendary coach. They are athletic, they are physical, they are explosive in the backfield. Schematically, they are very similar, because I think they have a recipe for success, and they're not going to deviate from that. And so you're going to see the Tarboro T run to perfection, and you're going to see them play a standard 4-4 defense, and they can run. So they do a great job, and they have a great team. That's a hidden part of the game. A lot of people don't see that part. Last week versus Robbinsville, our special teams were really good. We were able to flip the field when we had to punt. We hit 2 field goals, made all of our extra points, covered kicks well. So that's a huge part of the game, and it can turn the game. I think last year, you look at the state championship game last year, special teams was a big player in that game, and we work hard to try to sustain a good special team part of what we do.
Well, we're very thankful to be here, but getting here and then winning the whole thing, there's two different feelings. This is trip number 12 for me as a head coach. I know Tarboro played one in '98 and played for one in '84. But what I tell my fan base is, when you get here that many times, it's impossible to win them all. So unfortunately, the path of that is you lose some. And played a great Mount Airy team last year. They played a better game than we did, and we lost a tough game 20-7. So we didn't really feel like that our season was a success. And so we've had a great year this year. Got a lot of guys back that experienced that loss last year. And obviously so does Mount Airy, unfortunately. But, we're just going to try to play a better game. We're going to enjoy this week. I always, I always say business with a smile. I'm a little bit more laid back during this week with the guys 'cause I know it's our last week together, and I'm not going to have to chew tail. We know the deal. Kind of enjoy the week, but still, come 3 to 5:15 business, to get ready. But like I said, with a little bit of more of a smile, guys. Let's just have a fun week. Let's go play the best game we can. If I had to look at I got some sophomores that have stepped up this year, so I'll start with them. Caden Everett as a running back and as a DB has had a fantastic year as a sophomore. I start 2 sophomores at defensive end. Josiah Dickens has had a great year. Tyler Powell has had a great year for us in there. Inside linebackers, Cameron Harper has led us in tackles. My son has done a really good job. His junior year, he has played very well for me. Chris Gunter, I switched positions with Chris. And he's had a tremendous year at outside linebacker. So we've had some guys step up and play good ball for us. Well, obviously, we will approach it different. Now, I don't know if it's going to make a difference. But, when you lose a game, everybody wants to point at the players. Okay, you just got outplayed. That's not sometimes always true. So as a staff, okay, guys, let's go back and evaluate that film. Let's look at what they did well against us. Let's look at our own strategy and where maybe we didn't do as well as a coaching staff, and let's make those corrections. So, we've went back and we've done that. But so we think we can do things a little bit different, take advantage maybe a few things that they did really well against us last year. And then, give our kids a better opportunity to be in places to make plays. But I also know their staff's doing the same thing, because they're a great staff too. And then they got most of their guys back. And so we're 2 very, very similar teams. The communities are very similar. I mean, I think it's really unique. It's really, because I had the 3 with East Surrey. Now this is the 3rd, not in a row, but 2 in a row, but 3 overall with Mount Airy. And it just makes it fun, and you get to meet the guys. And like I said, I follow Mount Airy closely now, and I know they got great players. And you see them on film, they even look better than what you remember. And it's going to be I hope it's a great game. They're good enough to put it. They beat some really good, strong teams. I know out west has been loaded, and they have faced adversity. People forget that. They've been behind a little bit, not often, but they just keep trucking. They just, they don't blink, and that's a testament to the kids' will and to the coaching staff for always keeping them pushing forward.
Well, just leading into the game, we told them that they were going to play their best 4 quarters of the year, and we've talked about all year. We've put together 2 quarters, put together 1 quarter here, 1 quarter there. We've never really all season haven't put together 4 quarters in one game, and we finally did that Friday night, and we hope that we can continue that momentum going into the state championship game. So this is a good time of the year to finally find our best football. Yes, our defense coordinator has been doing it a long time. He's a retired Virginia coach, and he came down to North Carolina. Doug Mars, he's been coordinating our defense for the last 12, 13 seasons, and we've had, a lot of success in those 12, 13 seasons. So he runs our defense and has a lot of veteran coaches. My dad's, still hangs around and gives his input. Steve Knowles is technically retired. He lives in Wilmington and drives. He kind of will call in, check in, still watch film and kind of give us his input, and he drives to the games on Friday nights. And throughout the playoffs, he's been there a little bit more than just on Friday nights. But other defensive staff, defensive line, Coach Eric Greer has been with us the last 12 years or so a lot of experience coaching the defense. And then we've got several younger guys. Coach Kwame Graves works with our linebackers. Anthony Mansfield works with our safeties, and then Quan Graves works with our corners. Kind of the unique thing about our coaching staff is every person on our staff except for Coach Mars, who retired from Virginia, came down as a former Reedsville player. So they played in the system. They know what it takes to go out and compete for state championships, and then they've kind of coached that to their players now. So our defense, we preach 11 gold hats to the ball. So that's what we've got to take to be good on defense. You got to run to the football, and you got to make tackles, and you can tell in warm-ups, we kind of go through offense, and then when the defense goes through their warm-ups, it's a little bit different energy on the field when they go out there. So we take pride in our defense. We've always said you've got to be good on defense. The saying goes, defense wins championships. So we've really relied on that, and we've got to play good defense this Saturday. Yeah, so Al's, he's been a guy who's just really grown, ever since the day he stepped on campus as a freshman. We saw his physical talents, but just mentally learning the playbook, knowing what his reads were, trusting us as coaches, and then trusting his receivers that they're going to go out there and make a play. We've seen him grow as a leader throughout these 4 years, so we have a tremendous trust in him. We try to make it as easy as we can on the quarterback as far as what they're looking at pre-snap and what they're reading. But he's been playing at a really high level this year and his career. He's our career leading leader in passing yards and touchdowns and single season touchdowns. So he's had a lot of success, and he's got some really good guys to throw it to as well. We have a couple of those, a couple of different formations. So there's a couple of different scenarios basically where it's like, if you're not sure, just throw it up a little bit higher than everybody else, and I think number 0 is going to come down with it. So that's worked out a couple of times this year. Yeah, they're really well coached. They got a lot of really good players. They have a really big recruited athlete, number 10, who plays both offense and defense. Recently, they've put him more at running back. And on film, we really haven't seen anybody tackle him yet, so we know that's going to be a really big challenge for our defense going into the game. And then you can't just rely on stopping him because they have 4 or 5 guys that can really run. Their quarterback can run. They got another running back that has 1,000 yards, and then they got some receivers that can run. So their offensive line do a good job of opening up holes for those guys too. So for us, defensively, we know we have a tall task ahead of us for Saturday, and then for them on defense, again, it doesn't take you long to turn on the film. You can tell that they're really well coached defensively. They read their keys, they react well, they run to the football, which is what all are signs of good defenses. So they're really well coached and have a lot of good players on both sides.
I told them to enjoy it and embrace it. Anytime you can win a championship, whether it's a conference championship, Eastern Regional Championship, and or a state championship, it's an accomplishment. So take 24 hours and then we're on to the next. We've done a good job of scoring this year in all 3 phases of the game. We defensively we'll turn it into 6 if you give it to us, and same thing on special teams. Offensively, I think we've been steady 80 all year, and we've done a good job of setting a new line of scrimmage and scoring points, man. So, no complaints on that side of the ball. I think our offensive line and defensive line is some of the best in high school football. I think we've set a new line of scrimmage in every game we've played, and on both sides, and I think we do a good job in the trenches. A lot of them kids have been starting for 3 and 4 years, so they've seen a lot of ball and played upwards to anywhere from 30 to 50 games. So they do a good job making adjustments on the fly. Well, I mean, all the kids, man. All the kids do a great job, offensive line, defensive line wise. I try not to use names as much. It's the whole team. It's been a team effort, man, and we've done a great job pushing forward game to game. Elite athletes on the edge, elite tight end who might play in the NFL one day if it's in God's will. Quarterback distributes the ball really well. He's thrown 42 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He gets the ball out of his hand really quick. They're coached extremely well on the offensive line and defensive lines. Defensive line, they're extremely fast. The same tight end we were talking about plays defensive end. They play both ways. They 2 platoons, so their best players play both ways. Best players play special teams. There's really no weak area in this team, and you've got to play good ball to beat them.
I mean, I'm kind of one of those guys that just keep going. I don't celebrate very long. I said, enjoy this tonight, and then we got to get back to work and be ready to go because winning it all is going to be tough. I've never done it before, never been here before, so we don't really know what to expect. We're just going to approach everything the same way that we have all year long, and we'll still have our walkthroughs today, Bloody Tuesday tomorrow, Bible study on the Friday morning. I mean, we're not going to change anything and just try to keep everything the same. Oh, absolutely, because 71st comes at you pretty hard. I mean, they run downhill. I mean, it looks like they got linemen and running back, sometimes just running through people. They're very physical. So it really will help us with playing, them having played West Henderson and kind of feeling that power and that pain that they're going to inflict on you. And 71st is faster, we've been but don't break all year long, so hopefully we can just keep doing that. And we've patched a bunch of guys together. We got guys with knees and shoulders, and sure, like everybody else does this time of the year, but hopefully we'll be able to see it through. I can't even really describe it. Like I said, Coach Natolian has done a great job of developing him and teaching him, where to look and what to look for and everything. Brady's like another coach on the field. Like I said, I've told this story 1,000 times, but most of the time he's already, before we've even left the field house, he's already broke down what he did wrong, what he did right, what he's going to do. And then by Saturday night, Sunday morning, he's already telling us what the other team does and everything else. So he's special. I've never had one like him. Feel good about our kicker. Braden is first time he's ever kicked for us. He's a soccer player. Just a great kid. He's really still learning how to kick. And punting wise, Tristan's back there. He also plays linebacker for us, and he's doing a good job. We've been pretty solid in special teams, except for on kickoff. We were actually pretty good at it last week. We kind of changed some stuff up to make ourselves more successful. So we're hoping that. That we're able to win that phase. I think we'll be two very evenly matched teams when it comes to special teams.
Really, the guys are self-motivated. We were 1 point away from being in this position last season, so I believe the steam from that loss, a good off-season conditioning, training, the guys really worked hard and dedicated themselves, and it just paid off, man. They really were focused on getting here, and I'm just so proud of them for achieving their goals. Coach Hall and my defensive staff do a tremendous job of getting the kids prepared. They did excellent throughout the season. I think we had like 7 or 8 shutouts early in the year. And, of course, as the season goes on, you get into playoffs, teams are better. And we had some different challenges that we had to face. But we were able to continue to persevere, and the kids were able to be successful. Definitely on defense, Malik Thomas and Xavion Hill, our edges, have been excellent for us this season. Amir Drummond has stepped up in the secondary. Several of the kids have assumed a lot of leadership roles, things that don't show up offensively for us. Kwamel Hoffler is our only center up front, and he's done an excellent job of being like the linchpin up there, kind of holding things together, steadying the ship. Our offensive line has been tremendous this year. It's kind of hard to say. We do run the ball a little bit, have some success doing so, and they're a major part of that. But our center is the only senior up there, and he does a tremendous job of leadership. They have some very talented, skilled guys at receiver. They have a big running back. They're very solid, sound on defense, like to fly around. So we definitely have some challenges in front of us, but we're going to be prepared.
It was fun, they came out, pregame, and it was like we were on the city, and I was like, well, where's the Union County? So I think it's awesome for us to be back. Union County, I think people sometimes say it's not Charlotte Mech football, but it's really good football. It's really good coaching. I continue to say that, so I told them how proud I was of them. I told them that they've earned it. They deserve to be here, but I also said the job's not finished, and they've seen me wear that T-shirt last week every day. I do wash it, but they got to understand that we got one more to go, and I think that message has gotten across to them, and I think they're going to be ready to go this week and prepare, hopefully better than what we normally do. Yeah, Coach Hall, John Hall, is our D coordinator, and since I got hired 6 years ago, he was my first hire, and he's been unbelievable. He came from Forest View, Gastonia Forest View, and said he wanted to, learn what we do defensively. And that was my biggest thing, is I'm not going to change what Coach Carson brought defensively. And, we only had 4 seniors. We had 10 starters coming back on defense. He said, I want to learn. So since he's been here, he's just continued to build that defense into what it is. And, with Mike Newman at the D-line, he's been there for 10 years with me. And Coach Nichols and Coach Bowers, a former player that played for me at DB. We feel really good. And then Coach Lyerly, who, his wife's a softball coach here. His kids play here. He coached here before, and now he's back on staff. All 5 of them just put in so many hours of just hard work and effort to get a good game plan. But, the kids have to execute it. So as good as the game plan can be consistently, they got to make sure they understand what it is and they got to execute it. But, I think the thing that sets us apart is how hard we run to the football, how well we gang tackle, and how physical we try to be week in and week out. And it's similar to what Hoggard is too. So, I think if you're excited for a trench game, I think there'll be a great game in the trenches. There's going to be a war in there for 48 minutes, hopefully. Yeah, they're very good up front. They got 2 D1 kids on that line at least on offensively, and then defensively, 13's a game changer. As a defensive end, they do a great job moving him around, so we got to know where he's at the whole time. And they cause havoc. They create turnovers. 15 in 3 games, the last 3 games. It's pretty impressive how they do it and what they do. So we got to make sure we're taking care of the football. That's got to be an extra emphasis this week. Not running scared, not doing that. Still, letting Budge make sure he makes all the throws he knows he can make, but just making sure we're understanding. We got to take care of the football and then finish drives. They do a good job in the red zone of holding opponents to field goals or creating turnover. And we've been really good in the red zone. I know we kicked 2 field goals last week, so we got to make sure we put a little emphasis on it this week to get a red zone period, get a goal line period, and make sure we're punching it in when we get there. No, he's a creator. He does so much for us, gets us. Anytime we call a read, he makes the right read right now. Even if he doesn't, I'm going to call it again. I know he's going to get it right, but he's been awesome in the run game. 96 yards, 98 yards against Grimsley, 85 against Independence. So, it's just continuing to be just, a great runner in the run game, and then being able to throw the ball and be effective with it as well. So, we haven't thrown for a ton of yards in the last couple of games, but we haven't had to. And I think the coolest thing about him and even Keenan was, we're coming in the huddle on a timeout or injury timeout or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this in the past game. And, when him and Tyler come back and say, just keep pounding that thing, shows what kind of culture we feel like we've built and what kind of players they are, that winning is the top priority. Everybody wants stats, everybody wants touchdowns, but those kids want to win more than to do anything, and that's something special that those two have. And really, I think that helps our offense when, a receiver's telling us keep running the ball, quarterback's telling us keep running the ball. I think it makes for something special.
Preach celebrate the victory first. That was a special night. Kids, I thought, just played hard from the beginning. We were able to start fast, which was really important. But just the atmosphere, the community support, all that. Getting to play the Eastern Finals at home was just a special opportunity. So we celebrated first, and then it was, hey, we're not done yet. So really, really excited to have a chance to play for the big one this week.
Your offense have really kind of stand out?
Well, I always say, I think the understated piece is that it starts with the offensive line, So you look at, Jason Smith, he's our senior leader up there, and Michael Gibbs. Those two kind of set the tone, but that whole group has really been great for us and continue to improve throughout the year. I thought the running backs, Mikel Bellamy, Javion Joseph Fontaine, Tamir Webb, very fortunate to have 3 guys that have all been huge contributors in the run game throughout the season. And then, of course, when you look at the quarterback spreading the ball around, Hudson Wilhelm's done an incredible job with playmakers like Nas Session and Blake Edwards and Skylar Merrill, both hoops. That's the reason we are where we are, is because I can name that many names. So really, really love this group. They're a special group of kids. It's just, outstanding job. That defensive staff, they have really just bred the mentality of we're going to swarm to the football. We're going to do everything we can to force takeaways and set the offense up with great field position and with momentum, just by being trying to just swarm the football. So the group flies around. They love playing together.
What do you know since game?
Extremely talented and well coached football team. They've got great size. Run the ball very well, but they can throw it too. So physical up front on defense. Talented in the back end. So, it's a state championship, and they certainly look like a state championship opponent.